I think this story, even though it's a good story, I think it's a little bit tricky. So hopefully we can think through this and come up with, if you didn't get the answers right, why you didn't. Claire wants to strengthen the focus of her story. Claire, strengthen focus of her story. Which of the following is the best replacement for sentence 10? If you underline keywords in your question, give yourself a tally mark. Over here on sentence 10, it said, Jared wanted to do it, and it was repel. But that doesn't really sound the way we talk. Jared wanted to do it, and it was repel. So we know that we're going to replace sentence 10. So we bloop out sentence 10 and put a star. First of all, I can do it over here. If you're going to replace something, add, replace, you're going to use a star. And the strategy we use, wherever you want to write it, is sandwich, keyword, plug in. So you're going to sandwich the star, underlining the sentence before the star and after the star. The only problem is there's not a sentence after the star, so instead you're going to underline the two sentences before the star. This is a short paragraph. You could even read all three sentences, but for the sake of doing the strategy, let's just do these two and see if we can figure it out. So this sentence was unclear, and we need a focus of our story. Since we've read the story, we know that the story is mostly about Jared rappelling down the side of the mountain. He wanted to do it, and it was repel. The problem is that sentence just doesn't sound right. We want something that it's the focus of the entire story. So let's look. If you circled or underlined keywords in your question, give yourself a tally mark. If you did sandwich, keyword, plug in, and drew a star, give yourself a tally mark. So when we sandwich it, we're going to read these two sentences. He had seen other campers rappelling down the side of it. It looked so cool, but so scary at the same time. Which of these sentences would be a good focus for her story? Being at camp had been a wonderful experience for Jared and the other kids. Well, although they are at camp, indeed, that's definitely a true statement, is the main focus of this story being at camp and the wonderful experience it had been? And the main focus of the story is Jared repelling, right? So in this case, I would just put off topic, OT for off topic. Because even though the story is about that, that's not the right focus. If you didn't want to put off topic, you could put, not the main focus, not the main idea. Let's look at this one. He had seen other campers rappelling down the side of it. It looked so cool, but so scary at the same time. Jared was sometimes a little afraid to do things he had never done before. Is the main focus of the story Jared doing something, being afraid and doing things that he had never done before? No, the main focus of the story is him rappelling down the mountain. So this is off topic or not a good focus. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. He had seen other campers rappelling down the side of it. It looked so cool, but so scary at the same time. Today was Jared's last chance to overcome his fear and give rappelling a try. Is this about him repelling? Yes. Now or never. Even the title is a good indication of what it is. Basically, today Jared's last chance to overcome, so it's like, this is your last chance. It's either now or never to overcome his fear and give repelling a try. This one would be a good choice. It ties in with the title, the picture, and what the story is mostly about. So all indications say that this would be a good focus sentence. So you can put a maybe baby or a dot for possibility on that. He had seen other campers rappelling down the side of it. It looked so cool, but so scary at the same time. Even though the others had been rappelling down the side of the cliff, Jared didn't want to. Okay, let's see. Is this story mostly about Jared not wanting to go down the mountain? No. It says right here, it was so scary. It looked so cool, but so scary. He wanted to do it. It was to repel. Well, it doesn't say anything about that even though the others had been rappelling down the side of the cliff, Jared didn't want to. It says he wanted to. So it's now or never. He just had to get up the courage to do this. So this is either not true, you could put not true, or you could put off topic. The truth of the matter is, this is the only one that uses the title, the picture, and would actually make really good sense at the end of paragraph 2. So in this case, the correct answer is C. If you pick C as your correct answer, give yourself a tally mark. Now we're going to be in a crunch time the day of the STAAR test, so there's no reason to go back and write this sentence in the story. You just need to know it goes there. The meaning of sentence 12 is unclear. What change can Claire make to improve the clarity of this sentence? Well, I agree. Sentence 12 was a little unclear. He was at the top of the cliff with him, saying something about how strong the rope was. Well, all those words are a little bit unclear. He, with him, saying something. So that is unclear. It has lots of pronouns when we actually need nouns. So in this case, you don't want to put a vague word like stuff, things, it. You want to give a word that's going to help the author, help the reader have a better understanding of what the author's trying to say. The meaning of sentence 12, unclear. What change can Claire make to improve the clarity of her sentence? So change, make, improve clarity. So we want to improve the clarity. Well, this doesn't have add or anything like that on it. A learn pad just went off over here, so I might have to stop this. It doesn't have the word add, but you know that you're going to be adding these different ones in. More than anything, you're going to be plugging it in. So you don't know exactly what you're going to plug in. You just want to plug in all the answer choices to make sure that it makes sense. So change he to another counselor. Let's see. Another counselor was at the top of the cliff with him, saying something about how strong the rope was. Would another counselor be descriptive? Would that help clarify this in sentence 12? Another counselor would definitely be better than he. So that might be it. So I'm going to put a dot for possibility or maybe baby, but I've got to plug all of these in. He was at the top of the spot with him. Would spot be more clear or more specific than cliff? I think cliff is a good word. Spot is kind of vague. So in this case, you could still put unclear. Change him to them. Let's look. He was at the top of the cliff with them. Does them help us get any better of a picture than him? Those are both pronouns, and that is still unclear. And the whole point of this is that we're trying to fix what's unclear and improve the clarity. So that's still unclear. Change the rope to it. He was at the top of the cliff with him, saying something about how strong the it was. Or how strong it was. Well, it is not more descriptive than the rope. So it would make it more unclear. So when we plug in all of our answer choices, my only correct answer on that one would be F. Because F is the only one that helps clarify what that sentence is saying. Sentence 3. Which of these sentences could best follow and support sentence 15? Sentences best follow and support. Which sentence could best follow and support sentence 15? So if we're going to add a sentence because it's got to follow it, you're going to do a star. And the other strategy that we're going to use is sandwich keyword plug in. Now, if you're going to add a sentence after another sentence, more than likely that sentence is going to give you more information about this sentence. So we're going to get the useful information on sentence 15, and then we're going to see if it can give us more information. So let's look at that. Sentence 15, we have the star after it. So again, we're going to sandwich keyword plug in. We're going to underline the sentence before the star and after the star. But again, this is the end of a paragraph. So you're going to underline the two sentences before the star. Then you're going to read it to look for key words. Nice to know, Jared said. At the bottom of the cliff, Andrea was also connected to the rope. So more than likely, this sentence is going to give more information about Andrea being connected to that rope. Why would she be connected? What was she doing? Something like that. So let's look. Plug it in. Nice to know, Jared said. At the bottom of the cliff, Andrea was also connected to the rope. She would help keep the rope tight and make sure that Jared was safely coming down. Would that give more information as to why Andrea was connected to the rope? Yes, it would. So you're going to put a maybe baby or a dot for possibility on A. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. The next one. Nice to know, Jared said. At the bottom of the cliff, Andrea was also connected to the rope. Andrea had been such a good friend, and looking down at her right now made Jared think of all the fun they had had. Does that give more information to why Andrea is attached to the rope? No, and I really don't think that Jared would be thinking about all the fun times they had. All he's worried about is getting off the mountain safely, rappelling down the mountain safely. So this one is off topic or does not belong. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. Nice to know, Jared said. At the bottom of the cliff, Andrea was also connected to the rope. Jared was feeling great and stepped back from the cliff to look around at the beautiful scenery. Well, although this might be the case of what he's doing, does that give us more information to support sentence 15? Does that tell us why Andrea is on the rope? That doesn't tell us anything about that. So again, this one is off topic or does not belong. Nice to know, Jared said. At the bottom of the cliff, Andrea was also connected to the rope. Andrea was right there, connected to the rope, and Jared was connected at the bottom of the cliff. What I see with that is the sentence that's in the story says connected. And then it says connected, and then it says connected, and that makes me crazy because even though connected is a pretty good word, when you say it 3 times in 2 short sentences, it is a repeat. Definite repeat, and you don't want to repeat. So you can eliminate that because it's a repeat. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. My only correct answer on that is A. If you picked A as your correct answer and you fixed it that way in your story, give yourself a tally mark. What is the most effective way to combine sentences 24 and 25? Most effective way, combine sentences 24 and 25. If you underline those keywords, give yourself a tally mark. Anytime you see revise, combine, rewrite, anything like that, and the sentences look a lot the same. He made his way steadily down. 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 These sentences are just like yesterday's. They look a lot alike. So what you can do is we're going to use our strategy of Chinese. Even yesterday, there was a question and several people came up and said, Ms. Walls, these sentences are exactly the same. If you will play the matching game, if you will pick the sentence that you think is right and you will play the matching game, you'll notice that they are not exactly right. It could be something as simple as an ending, or maybe there's a period instead of a question mark, but you have got to compare them word for word for word. So let's look at this. The easiest way to do this is going to be to check your commas and your fanboys. So on this one, we're going to combine it, so we're going to look at this period. Let's look. Since he made his way steadily down, since is an awubis word. And what the rule says about awubis is if a sentence starts out with one, you must put a comma after the clause. So right now, that looks like that might be a good choice. Let's read it. Since he made his way steadily down with a grin, comma, it began to spread all over his face. Since he made his way steadily down with a grin, it began to spread all over his face? That doesn't really, I think that's the wrong transition word. Since he made his way steadily down with a grin, it began to spread all over his face. More than anything, it needs to say, since he made his way steadily down, comma, a grin began to spread all over his face. the place where they put the comma, this sentence isn't real clear. So I don't think that's a real good choice. Let's look at this. This has an awubis word right here in the middle, and the rule is if it starts off with one, you must put a comma after the clause, but if it's in the middle, no comma is needed. Let's look at this at work. He made his way steadily down because a grin began to spread over his face. I think they have it backwards. It needed to say over here, a grin began to spread over his face because he made his way steadily down. He's not making his way steadily down because he has a grin. He has a grin because he made his way steadily down. So that's not a good choice. Even though grammatically these would work with the awubis and the commas, you have to look at what it's actually saying and see if it makes sense. Here's another awubis word right here, as. As he made his way steadily down, comma, a grin began to spread over his face. That sounds the most like what we talk, the way we talk. So you're going to put a dot for possibility or a maybe baby on H. Let's look at this. He made his way steadily down. A grin began to spread over his face. Well, they don't have anything in the middle here, but they have two sentences that are glued together with nothing. Let's look. He made his way steadily down. That's a complete sentence. A grin began to spread over his face. That's a complete sentence. So it's complete on the left, complete on the right. It needs both a comma and a fanboy's word to make it right, and it doesn't have either one of those. So that would not work. So the only one that looks like it would even work is H. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw attention to H, and we're going to make all our other answer choices look just like that. So instead of since, we're going to change it to say as. So we're going to bloop out since, put a caret, and add as. As he made his way steadily down, comma, you don't need with, a grin, bloop out the comma and the it, a grin began to spread over his face. So by matching it up, by adding the awubis word as, by inserting a comma and blooping out with and blooping out the comma and it would make F look just like H. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. The next one, you're going to insert as and lowercase he. As he made his way steadily down, comma, you don't need because, a grin began to spread over his face. So on this, we just had to insert the correct awubis word, insert a comma, and bloop out because. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. On this one, we're going to insert as, lowercase he, as he made his way steadily down, comma, a grin began to spread over his face. So on this one, we just had to insert the awubis word and insert a comma. If you did that, give yourself a tally mark. My only correct answer on that is H. If you picked H as your correct answer, give yourself a tally mark. Here we go. Claire forgot to include an important detail in the last paragraph. Sentences 16 through 29. So the last paragraph is right here, sentences 16 through 29. Here's the sentence that she wants to add. With trembling legs, he took his first step. I will tell you that this has an important transition word, first step. So we need to look where in this story or where in this paragraph is it talking about his first step. So let's look at it. You're still going to use, if you're going to add an important detail, she forgot it, so she's going to have to add it. So we're going to use sandwich keyword plug in. Kind of on a small level, but let's see. Sentence 19. So if we're going to add it after sentence 19, we're going to have to read sentence 19, plug it in, and then read sentence 20. Let's see if that would work. He felt the strong, straight rope in his hands. With trembling legs, he took his first step. Jared gripped it tightly and leaned out as far as he could stretch. Well, he has the rope in his hands. He's gripping it tightly, and he leans back. Is that where he takes his first step? No, so you can put not the right place, Really, that's off topic. Let's look at this. After sentence 20. So we're going to read sentence 20, plug in the sentence he forgot, and read sentence 21. Jared gripped it tightly and leaned out as far as he could stretch. With trembling legs, he took his first step. Step, step, step. His feet took turns creeping down the side of the cliff. Is right here where he takes his first steps? Yes. And then it goes on to say step, step, step. So in my opinion, this is a maybe baby or a dot for possibility. Let's look at sentence 21. If it's after sentence 21, you're going to have to read sentence 21, plug in the question, and read sentence 22. Step, step, step. His feet took turns creeping down the side of the cliff. With trembling legs, he took his first step. He was doing it. Well, if he did step, step, step right here, he took his first step up here before he did step, 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 because this is after he's taken several steps. So this is the wrong sequence, off topic, not the right place. Any of those I would take. Let's look at this after sentence 26. So we're going to have to read 26, plug it in, and 27. He went faster and faster until his last step was more like a jump. With trembling legs, he took his first step. Jared suddenly realized that he had made it to the bottom. Well, he can't take his first step if he just took his last step. Wrong order. Wrong. It's off topic. It's the wrong order. It's not going to work. So my only correct answer on that, the only place where it would work, is B. If you picked B as your correct answer, give yourself a tally mark. Sentence 6, or question 6. Claire's paper ends abruptly and leaves the reader wondering what happens next. So paper ends abruptly, wondering what happens next. Which sentence could Claire add to the end of her paper? When you see the word add, you're going to put a star. And anytime we add something or replace something or forgot to include it and have to go back and add it, we use the strategy sandwich keyword, plug in. So she wants to add it to the end of her paper. So again, we're going to underline the sentence before our star and the sentence after our star. Only once again, there's not a sentence after our star. So we're going to underline the two sentences before the star. His legs were still a bit shaky as he gave Andrea a high five. But Jared knew exactly what his first words would be now that he had made it down. What are his first words going to be? Let's see. Plug it in. But Jared knew exactly what his first words would be now that he made it down. He had made it down and had actually repelled. Well, it said made it down, made it down. Would that work? Heavens, no. That is a repeat, and you do not want to repeat. You want to remember that in your own story. You don't want to repeat, so we can eliminate that. His legs were still a bit shaky as he gave Andrea a high five, but Jared knew exactly what his first words would be now that he had made it down. "Where's my snack?" he asked the counselor. He just did something very, very, very exciting. He rappelled down the side of the mountain. He overcame his fear. He fitted in before camp was over. And so do you really think that what he said was, "Where's my snack?" I think he's so amped up and excited, the last thing he's worried about is his snack. So on this, we're going to put off topic or does not belong. His legs were still a bit shaky as he gave Andrea a high five, but Jared knew exactly what his first words would be now that he made it down. He didn't have a doubt about what he wanted to say. Well, he's already said he knew exactly what he was going to say, and then to say he didn't have a doubt, that's like saying he already knew exactly what his first words would be. So this is just adding irrelevant details. We already know that. Again, it doesn't repeat it word for word, but it says it in a different way, so that's a repeat. That's not right. So now that we've eliminated these three, I hope to goodness this one makes sense. His legs were still a bit shaky as he gave Andrea a high five, but Jared knew exactly what his first words would be now that he made it down. "Can I do it again?" he shouted with excitement. Do you think that might be something that he said after he made it down? I think that that is a great choice. So my only answer on that would be a dot for possibility was J. So you should have put a maybe baby or dot for possibility on J. And we've eliminated our other three. So my only correct answer on that is J. If you pick J as your correct answer and you fixed it that way, well, you didn't have to fix anything in your story. I'm about to lose my mind because we've been doing this for 4 days. But I hope you are doing good. And I can't wait to see how you did on this.